This deep dive is all about you. Well, a potential you. The you that's maybe, just maybe, thinking about packing it all up and moving to Japan for a whole year.
A whole year? That's incredible.
Right, not just a quick trip, not just a taste, but a full-on immersion.
We're talking about really getting under the skin of Japan, experiencing it as a resident.
And I know, it can seem like a lot. Trust me, I get it. But that's what we're here for.
To break it all down.
Exactly. We're going to cover everything you need to know for your first time to make this giant leap a reality.
It's about moving beyond those tourist hotspots and really feeling the pulse of daily life in Japan.
Finding those hidden rhythms, the stuff most travelers never see. Okay, so first things first. Timing. When's the best time to actually go?
Well, for a first-timer, I'd always recommend either spring or autumn.
Classic choices, right?
For a reason. Think about it. Springtime in Japan means cherry blossoms everywhere. The landscape is just painted pink. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm sold.
Yeah.
What about autumn?
Autumn is all about those vibrant colors, the maple leaves turning fiery red. Plus, both seasons offer, well, pleasant weather. You'll avoid that intense summer humidity.
Yeah, not everyone's a fan of that.
And you'll miss the peak season clouds. Which means shorter lines, more relaxed vibe, you know, easier to just soak it all in.
So summer in Japan is more for, like, the hardcore heat lovers.
It definitely has its own charm, especially if you're into festivals and fireworks, but for a year-long stay, especially a first time.
Yeah, probably better to ease into it.
Exactly. Spring or autumn, a much gentler introduction to everything Japan has to offer. And, you know, winter can be magical, too, with snow-capped mountains and those steaming hot springs, the onsen.
I've heard they're amazing.
Oh, they are. But spending a whole year in winter...
Maybe not the best starting point.
Right. Okay, so timing is key. Now, where do you even begin exploring in a country as diverse and fascinating as Japan?
I know, it's like, where do you even start? You could spend a lifetime there and still not see everything.
Absolutely. But for a first-timer, you gotta hit those iconic spots.
Like the greatest hits tour.
Kind of, yeah. We're talking Tokyo neon lights, ancient temples, all that energy.
Tokyo's definitely on my list.
Then there's Kyoto, the old capital, Zen gardens, tea houses. It's a different pace altogether. And Osaka, oh man, Osaka is a foodie's paradise.
Okay, I'm already hungry.
Seriously, the street food there is incredible, and the nightlife is vibrant. And, of course, a visit to Hiroshima. That's a profound historical experience.
A must-see, definitely. And I know it sounds cliche, but I can't imagine going to Japan without at least seeing Mount Fuji.
Of course, it's like a symbol of the country. But here's the thing. Each of these places isn't just about, like, checking it off a list. They're significant for more than just their beauty.
I'm listening.
Take the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto, for example. Everyone's seen those pictures, right? Thousands of bright orange torii gates.
Oh yeah, it's stunning.
But those gates, they represent something deeper. In the Shinto religion, which is like a core part of Japanese culture, those gates symbolize the transition between the physical and spiritual worlds.
Wow, I didn't know that. So it's not just a pretty picture. It's about understanding what it actually means.
Exactly. Okay, so we're talking about all these incredible places to visit, but how do you even get around in Japan? I mean, the country's huge.
Public transportation in Japan is legendary.
It is. It's incredibly efficient. If you're planning to travel extensively, the Japan Rail Pass is a must-have.
I've heard of it, but what exactly is it?
It's basically an all-access pass for the country's bullet train network. Imagine zipping across Japan at 320 kilometers per hour and, you know, enjoying the scenery while you're at it.
That's faster than my internet connection. What about just getting around, like, within cities?
For local travel, a prepaid IC card, that's your best friend.
So I don't have to fumble with tickets every time I hop on a bus.
Nope. You can use it on the subway, the buses, even some shops. Saves you time and money. Okay, so we've got the long-distance travel covered, we've got the city travel covered, but after all that exploring...
You're going to need a place to crash.
Exactly. And you've got choices. There's hotels, they're comfortable, you know what you're getting. But if you're after a truly unique experience, a real taste of Japanese culture, you got to try a ryokan.
A ryokan.
A traditional Japanese inn. Think about it. Sleeping on a futon on tatami mats, the room's got sliding doors, maybe a little garden. And they have these amazing multi-course meals. Authentic Japanese cuisine.
That sounds incredible. But what about the budget? Are ryokans, like, super expensive? I mean, if our listeners planning to stay for a whole year...
Good point. Ryokans can be pricey, but there are options for every budget. For the budget traveler, hostels are great, especially if you're solo or looking to meet people.
The social butterfly option.
Yeah, you get shared dorm rooms, common areas, it's fun. And then there's always Airbnb, you know.
Reliable Airbnb. More space, usually, and you
Yeah.
get that local touch.
Right. Okay, so we've got the travel sorted, we've got a place to sleep. Now the fun part, culture.
This is where it gets interesting, right? You can't just drop into a new culture without, like, understanding the rules of the game.
Exactly. Japan is all about respect and tradition. There's etiquette involved, but it's part of the experience. Like bowing, for example.
Bowing.
It's more than just saying hello, it's showing respect, gratitude. The deeper the bow, the more formal it is.
So there's, like, levels to it?
Yeah. A quick nod for casual greetings, but for formal occasions, or if you're showing deep respect, you do a longer, deeper bow.
Okay, bowing etiquette. Check. What about gift giving? I've heard it's a big deal in Japan.
It is. It's about thoughtfulness. You give these gifts called omiyage, local snacks or souvenirs from the region you've visited.
So you're not just buying a random knickknack.
No, you're sharing part of your journey with people, showing them you thought of them. Now, table manners, that's another one.
This is the part where I'm always worried about messing up.
Don't worry, it's not that strict. Just remember, you wait for the host to say, "Itadakimasu," before you start eating.
Itadakimasu.
It means I humbly receive, expressing gratitude for the food.
That's beautiful. And what about, like, slurping noodles? Is that rude?
Actually, slurping your noodles, especially ramen, is a compliment to the chef. It shows you're enjoying it.
No way. See, this is what I love about learning about different cultures. All those little details that make it so interesting. Okay, bowing, gift giving, slurping noodles. We're getting this. But let's be honest, no trip to Japan is complete without experiencing the food.
Oh, the food.
Right. It's like a whole other level. We're talking sushi, ramen, tempura. Where do we even begin?
Those are definitely must-tries. But don't stop there. Each region in Japan has its own specialties. In Osaka, you gotta try takoyaki. It's like these little octopus balls.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those. They look amazing.
And okonomiyaki, it's like a savory pancake with cabbage and meat and this special sauce.
I'm drooling just thinking about it. But what if our listener has dietary restrictions, like vegan or gluten-free? Is Japan still a good option?
Japan is getting much better at accommodating different dietary needs, especially in bigger cities. You'll find vegan restaurants, gluten-free options. It's becoming more common.
That's good to hear. Everyone deserves to experience delicious food. Okay, so food is covered. Now let's get real about the budget. A year in Japan, it can't be cheaper, right?
Well, it depends on your lifestyle. It's definitely not a backpacking trip, but it doesn't have to break the bank either. Let's break down some potential costs.
Yeah, give us the nitty-gritty.
Okay, accommodation. That's where you'll see the biggest difference. A hostel could cost you like $45 a night, a decent hotel room, more like $100, and a luxurious ryokan, you could be looking at $180 or more per night.
Okay, so there's a range.
A big range. But if you're staying longer, you can often find discounts or monthly rates that make it more affordable. What about daily expenses like food and transportation?
Yeah, let's talk about those.
Food costs can be all over the place. You could grab a bowl of ramen from a street vendor for like $8, or you could splurge on a fancy sushi dinner for $50 or more.
Okay, so eating in is probably the way to go for budget travelers.
Definitely. Grocery stores in Japan are amazing. You can find fresh ingredients, ready-made meals, all for reasonable prices. And transportation. If you're not going all over the country, budget around $10, $15 a day for local travel.
So all things considered, what's a realistic daily budget for someone living in Japan? Ballpark figure.
I'd say, factoring in the basis plus some fun activities, you could comfortably get by on $75, $100 a day.
That's not bad at all, and I'm sure there are ways to save money if you're really budget conscious.
Absolutely. Japan has tons of free or cheap things to do. Parks, gardens, temples, shrines, just wandering around and exploring.
The best things in life are free, as
Oh.
they say. Okay, last but definitely not least, let's talk about safety. Is Japan a safe place for travelers? I mean, for a whole year.
Japan is one of the safest countries in the world. Violent crime is rare. People are honest. You can walk around at night without worry.
That's reassuring. But what about natural disasters? Earthquakes, typhoons, that kind of thing.
It's true. Japan does experience those. Most buildings are built to withstand earthquakes, and there are safety procedures in place. It's a good idea to download a safety app on your phone just in case.
Better to be prepared. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, but it feels like we've just scratched the surface.
We have. This is just the beginning.
So much to explore, from those bustling city streets to tranquil gardens, ancient temples to the peak of Mount Fuji. It's all out there waiting,
What resonates most with you so far? What's sparking your curiosity about Japan?
I think.
It's incredible to think about, spending a whole year in Japan. There's so much to uncover, from those buzzing cities to the peaceful countryside.
It really is a choose-your-own-adventure kind of place. Speaking of choosing, we talked about Mount Fuji before, but how do you actually experience it? Is it all about that, like, epic climb to the summit?
Well, climbing Mount Fuji is definitely a bucket list item for a lot of people. But the climbing season is short, just July and August, because of the weather.
Makes sense.
And it's physically demanding, for sure. But those views from the top, they say they're breathtaking.
I can only imagine. But for those of us who, maybe prefer a less intense mountain experience, what are the other options?
There's tons. You can take a cruise on Lake Kawaguchi, for example, get those classic views of Mount Fuji reflected in the water.
Super peaceful.
The Fuji Five Lakes region, that whole area is amazing for hiking. Forests, lake shores, with glimpses of the mountain through the trees.
Okay, that sounds more my speed.
And if you're feeling adventurous, you could even try paragliding.
Paragliding with a view of Mount Fuji. That's next level. This is making me want to start packing my bags right now. Speaking of which, what are some, packing essentials for a year in Japan? What can't I forget?
The most important thing, make sure your passport is valid for at least 6 months beyond your planned stay. And do your research on visa requirements.
Ah, yes, the paperwork.
Some countries have agreements with Japan, so you can stay visa-free for tourism, but for a year-long stay, you'll probably need a specific visa. Check with the Japanese embassy or consulate in your home country just to be safe.
Always good to be prepared. What about travel insurance? Worth it for a long trip like this?
Highly recommended, especially for a whole year. It covers unexpected medical expenses, lost luggage, even trip cancellations.
Peace of mind is priceless.
Exactly. Okay, tech gadgets. You'll want to stay connected.
Of course.
Oh,
How else am I going to post all those amazing Instagram pics?
A portable Wi-Fi device is a must. You can rent them at the airport or buy a SIM card. No crazy roaming charges.
Smart.
Oh, and don't forget a power adapter. Japan uses Type A plugs.
Noted. Don't want my phone dying on me in the middle of exploring. All right, back to cultural stuff for a minute. Any, specific situations where I really need to be mindful of Japanese customs?
It's all about being respectful and aware. When you visit temples and shrines, for example, dress modestly and take your shoes off before entering.
Shoes off, got it. Anything else?
You'll usually see designated areas for shoes. Just follow everyone else's lead. Same goes for some traditional restaurants. You might be seated on tatami mats.
Tatami mats.
Woven straw mats. It's customary to kneel or sit cross-legged on them. And again, shoes off.
Okay, tatami mats, shoes off, sit properly. I'm learning so much. It's amazing how these little things can tell you so much about a culture.
They really do. And remember, Japanese people are incredibly hospitable. Even if you accidentally make a mistake, just apologize, show you're trying to learn. It goes a long way.
That's good to know. Okay, so we've got the practical stuff, the cultural do's and don'ts, but what about the bigger picture?
Yeah.
The personal side of living in Japan for a year. What can our listener expect beyond just the tourist experience?
Living abroad, especially for that long, can be truly transformative.
In what way?
You encounter new perspectives, you challenge your assumptions, you learn about yourself as much as you learn about the new culture.
It's like you step outside your comfort zone and suddenly you see everything differently.
Exactly. You might discover strengths you never knew you had or passions you never realized were there. And when you go back home, you take all those experiences with you.
A whole new perspective on the world.
And who knows, maybe you'll even pick up some Japanese along the way. Even a few phrases can really enhance your experience.
I'm all for that. All right, so we've talked about when to go, where to go, how to get around the cultural side of things. Now let's get to some insider tips. The stuff that takes your trip from, good to unforgettable.
The secret sauce.
Exactly. Let's start with money matters. How do I handle my finances in Japan? Is it a cash society, or do I need to rely on credit cards?
Japan is still pretty cash-heavy, especially outside the big cities. It's good to have a mix of both, just in case. And let your bank know you're traveling so they don't freak out when you start using your card overseas.
Makes sense. What about ATMs? Are they easy to find?
You'll find them at convenience stores, banks, post offices. But not all ATMs accept foreign cards, so check with your bank before you go.
Good to know. Now, communication. I know English isn't super widely spoken in Japan. Any tips for handling the language barrier?
A good translation app is your best friend. You can use it for text, conversations, even take pictures of signs or menus and get instant translations.
Technology is amazing. But what if I want to, actually try to speak Japanese?
Learning a few basic phrases can go a long way. Greetings, thank yous, things like that. Even if your pronunciation isn't perfect, the effort is appreciated.
It shows you care, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hit me with some insider tips. What are some hidden gems or off-the-beaten-path experiences that most tourists miss?
One of my favorite things is just exploring local neighborhoods. Get away from the main tourist areas, wander the back streets, find those tiny cafes, the local shops.
Getting that authentic vibe.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to strike up conversations with people. You might be surprised at how friendly and helpful they are.
Making those connections, those are the memories that stick with you.
Absolutely. What about souvenirs?
Yeah, what should I bring back for my friends and family?
Instead of generic souvenirs, look for things that have meaning. Handcrafted pottery from a local artisan, maybe, or a calligraphy scroll with your name written in Japanese characters. Something unique that reflects your experience.
Love that. So much better than a cheesy keychain.
Ah.
Speaking of experiencing the culture, what about markets?
Oh, the markets. A must-do. Fresh produce, seafood, spices, all those regional specialties.
A feast for the senses. Any other food experiences you'd recommend?
If you love ramen, try a ramen tour. Each region has its own style.
I'm down for a ramen tour.
Or if you're feeling super adventurous, you can try fugu,
Fugu.
the puffer fish. It's a delicacy, but it can be poisonous if it's not prepared correctly. Definitely a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing.
Maybe I'll stick to ramen for now. Okay, any final words of wisdom for our listener before they embark on their year in Japan?
Embrace the unexpected. Be flexible, be adventurous. Japan is a blend of tradition and modernity. Be open to learning, be respectful, and most importantly, have fun.
Sounds like a plan. We've covered so much, from the practicalities to the deeper, more personal aspects of what it means to live in Japan.
It's a journey, for sure. And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listener with something to think about.
I'm intrigued.
Imagine yourself at the end of your year in Japan, standing at the airport, ready to come home. What's the one experience, the one memory, the one lesson that stayed with you, the one that's truly transformed you?
Wow, that's a heavy one. Really makes you think about the impact this kind of experience can have.
Let that question guide you as you explore. The answers will come, I promise you that.
This year in Japan is a gift. A chance to experience something new, connect with people, discover parts of yourself you never knew existed.
Embrace it every moment. Let the magic of Japan transform you.
All right, welcome back to our final deep dive into living in Japan for a year. It's been a whirlwind of info, hasn't it? From navigating Tokyo to slurping down ramen like a pro.
We've covered a lot of ground, that's for sure. But now I think it's time to shift gears a bit.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, we've talked about the practicalities, the cultural stuff, all that's important, but there's another layer to this whole experience.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's about the personal transformation, the way living in a new culture for a whole year can change you from the inside out.
You mean, it's not just about seeing Japan, it's about becoming a different person.
Exactly. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
imagine yourself in a peaceful Japanese garden. Cherry blossoms are falling around you. There's the sound of water. Everything is calm and serene.
Okay, I'm feeling zen already.
And in that moment, you start to think about what you really want out of this experience. What are your aspirations? What do you hope to gain from this whole year of immersion?
It's like planting a seed, right? And then watching it grow into something beautiful.
I love that analogy. And the soil in this case is Japan, with all its rich culture and traditions. So how might that seed grow for someone living in Japan for a year?
Good question. I guess it depends on the person, right? What are their interests? What are they hoping to find?
Absolutely. For some people, it might be a newfound appreciation for mindfulness, for simplicity, the Japanese way of finding beauty in the everyday,
I could definitely use a bit more of that in my life.
Others might be drawn to something more creative, like calligraphy or the tea ceremony, discovering talents they didn't even know they had.
It's amazing how being in a different environment can unlock those hidden parts of ourselves.
And for a lot of people, it's about gaining a deeper understanding of their own values and beliefs. Seeing the world from a different perspective can really make you think about what's important to you.
So it's like stepping outside the box of your own life and realizing There's a whole universe out
The
there.
full universe of possibilities, and that can be both exciting and a little bit scary, right?
Definitely. So what advice would you give our listener to help them navigate all these potential changes and really embrace this personal journey?
I'd say be open to new experiences, even the ones that make you feel a bit uncomfortable. Step outside your comfort zone, allow yourself to be surprised.
It's all about growth, right? Pushing those boundaries.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Japan is a very forgiving culture. As long as you're respectful and show a willingness to learn, people will be happy to help you along the way.
That's good to know. Okay, so being open to new experiences is key. But how do you actually, do that? What are some practical steps?
Start small. Learn a few basic Japanese phrases, explore different neighborhoods, try all the weird and wonderful foods you can find, talk to people, even if it's just with a translation app.
It's about those small, everyday interactions, those little moments that add up to something bigger.
And don't forget to document those moments. Keep a journal, take pictures, write down your thoughts and feelings.
Create a record of your journey, something you can look back on and remember how much you've grown.
Exactly. It's like creating your own personal map of Japan with all the highlights and discoveries you've made along the way.
And speaking of discoveries, I want to bring back that thought-provoking question you posed earlier, the one about that one transformative experience you'll carry with you from Japan.
Ah, yes. It's a question worth pondering, isn't it?
It really is. And I think it's a perfect note to end our deep dive on.
As you embark on this adventure, keep that question in mind. Let it guide you. Let it shape your experience. The answers will come in their own time, and when you return home, you'll be a different person in the best way possible, enriched by everything you've seen, done, and felt in Japan.
So to our listener, we say, embrace this incredible opportunity. Open your heart to the magic of Japan and allow yourself to be transformed. Happy travels.